Introductions first, and Luidgi, we will start with you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Luidgi Mary. I am a Miami-Dade County native, born in Jackson Memorial Hospital. I've been living here and working alongside you in Miami Beach for several years. I am here as a first-time candidate, and I am proud to say that I am the only true working class candidate. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you, when I plan my meals, I don't know what I'm gonna eat. Publix tells me what I'm gonna eat. It's called buy one, get one free. That's how I eat, that's how I live. I proudly use mass transit, public transit every day. I am highly aware of situations with mass transit, traffic, the trolley, and also the fact is that we have to have tough conversations. So these conversations we will explore, and I thank you all for being here this evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Fernandez. I'm proud to be your commissioner in the Group 3C. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve you. I've been a resident here in Miami Beach for about 19 years, and over my first term of service, I've been proud to fight to protect our Art Deco historic district against state preemptions. We fought against Live Local, preserving our architectural design and rights for replication in the historic district. Infrastructure is key and vital in our city. It's why I worked with the Inspector General's office to create the Stop the Pause policy, to raise the voting threshold so that we don't stop the infrastructure projects that are needed to keep our homes dry. And it's why we'll keep on leading for a safer, a cleaner, a more resilient Miami Beach in the years to come. Thank you for hosting this debate, and I look forward to answering more questions.
What do you believe is the biggest issue facing our city, and how would you go about fixing it? I'll start with you.
Well, I think it depends who you ask. Clearly, I think, obviously, if you ask voters, overdevelopment is in the top of a lot of people's minds. A lot of residents face overdevelopment when they sit in their cars and they face traffic. And I think one of the key things in addressing it is holding a line and opposing certain types of overdevelopment. When developers wanted to take over the lots on 41st Street, your parking lots where we all park, I said no. And what we did was we sent it out to the voters, and we told the voters, let's protect the lots on 41st Street, and only you, the voters, can decide if those lots ever get sold and developed. When they tried to come into the parking lot on 53rd Street and Collins, and they tried to develop that, I said no. When Russell Galvin tried to develop Alton Road and 6th Street with hundreds of new units in a level of service intersection that's failing, we held the line and we said no. When there were proposals to rezone Lenox Avenue and 6th Street to add more units, we said absolutely not. This is a historic district that's worth fighting for and that is worth preserving. And that's the leadership I will bring. There are certain projects we do have to approve because it's needed for the future of our city. But when projects are not good, I won't fear saying no as I have in the past. Now, clearly also our economy is suffering. We have certain retail corridors where the businesses need help. And we're working on waiving certain fees, like mobility fees, to make it easier for our businesses to open faster. We're also working on processes so that certain uses don't have to go through the planning board when it's along Lincoln Road or when it's along 41st Street or along Washington Avenue, because these are parts of our city where the businesses are suffering. And clearly, our infrastructure is one of the greatest challenges our city has. Unless we address our infrastructure, our homes won't be insurable. Our bond rating is going to be affected. And that's why, again, I worked with the Inspector General's office to sponsor the Stop the Pause legislation so that we continue moving forward with projects like West Avenue that after decades of delay is finally moving forward. First Street is finally moving forward. When our residents in Lakeview faced their homes being flooded, I met with the residents there and our city engineers. That's nice. I met with our city engineers, and together as a commission, we worked to remill those roads, to make sure there were trenches put in place. And through the most recent rainstorms, we were able to keep those streets dry. That's the type of leadership I hope to bring forward to the issues that we continue facing in our city.
Is what do you believe is the biggest issue facing our city, and how would you go about fixing it? Luidgi.
Thank you all, and thank you for the question, ma'am. So in terms of what is the biggest problem in the city, I do partly agree that overdevelopment is obviously one of those issues, but more urgently, I want each of you to think about what is the essence of life? Water. I think that our water quality issue is an absolute emergency. Now, as we approach election seasons, electeds get very active. They're out there and, they're pressing the flesh and they get moving. But where's that energy for the rest of the term? It's absent, and that's a fact. And this is one of the difficult conversations that we have to have. This is a binary and clear choice. Do you, the voter, want to continue on the same path, or do you want to try something fresh and new? That's it. It's a binary, clear choice. Are you better? City of Miami Beach residents, business owners, are you better now than you were 3-4 years ago? And with that, I yield my time.
Is Miami Beach a tourist city, or is it something else? Is it designed for expensive restaurants and art galleries, or more of the playground and nightlife for the 20,000 people, young people that come here for spring break? Where do you want Miami Beach to land, and how would you go about getting us there? Yes.
All right.
2 minutes.
Miami Beach is for the residents. We are a resident-first community, and that is clear when we look at where our priorities are. We strongly oppose the preemptions on short-term rental. Today, we have over 5,000 licensed short-term rental units in our city. Those are short-term rental units that are taking away housing that should be for whom? For the workforce of our city. And that's one of the reasons why I think the biggest thing that we can do over the next year is joining forces with the hotel industry and with other cities to fight the preemption on the short-term rentals. We need to stop having our housing become long-term stays or short-term stays for tourists from out of town who come for the weekend, who destroy our city, who leave and don't care about the impacts that they're causing to our neighborhoods. Is why I passed legislation seeking injunctions, court-ordered injunctions against those property owners who engage in illegal short-term rentals, who turn their homes into nightclubs, as we were seeing in some of the islands and in this very neighborhood, where we were seeing homes turned into nightclubs in our city. And we brought in about creativity. We passed first of its kind legislation that was held up in court. And we've been able to take these negligent property owners to court. We've been able to get injunctions against them. And we've been able to restore the quality of our neighborhoods. But the most important thing we have to do is to overturn the preemption on the short-term rentals, because it is turning our neighborhoods into tourist destinations where tourists don't belong, and where we need to create that housing or bring that housing back for the working people of the city of Miami Beach.
Next question, please. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Please, ma'am.
Is Miami Beach a tourist city, or is it something else? Is it designed for those expensive restaurants and art galleries, and more of a playground for nightlife where the 20,000 young people for spring break come? Where do you want Miami Beach to land, and how would you go about getting us there?
I actually believe that it's both. I think that it has to be approached smartly. Primarily, it is a resident city. Now, The city of Miami Beach produces the lion's share of tax revenue, and it gets sent up to Tallahassee. We're talking about tourism dollars. And those funds are not being distributed equally. We have 67 counties, well, 66 other counties that take a bite of that. So we cannot just abandon tourism. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I am the only candidate who is a National Concierge Association member, so thank you for bringing that up. And again, it is important because tourism is our primary engine in terms of the economic growth in the city of Miami Beach. So what do we need to do? We need to step up the quality of our tourism, not this $5 pizza soda combo business. We need to step up the game and make sure that the people coming here, they know that they are going to be dressing appropriately and also behaving appropriately. Studies show that when students wear uniforms in school, that they are less distracted and they behave better, right? So I'm not saying that everyone has to wear penny loafers and slacks tucked in on Miami Beach, but what I'm saying is that we have to make sure that we set the tone by having people that are true examples and role models in the city, which will help guide the clientele that we want and need here in Miami Beach to spend those tourism dollars. Thank you.
The next question is going to be about public safety, but we do have an audience member question about public safety, so I'll tie this in. It says, empty police cars are parked throughout the city. Do you see this as an effective way to enhance security and fight crime? Please explain. And about public safety as well. Miami Beach, where do you think we stand? Yes.
I think it's a good initiative to have police cars, if they're extra police cars, to be able to have a decoy. We know that they serve as great deterrents. I think criminals, when they see a police car, they don't know whether it's occupied or not. But I think we also need to empower our police officers with the right resources. And part of those resources, and perhaps the most important resource that we need to empower our police with, is our trust. We're not police officers on the dais. We're not police chiefs on the dais. We need to trust our chief of police. We need to trust our command staff to guide the right policies. The other thing that I think is very important is to address one of the biggest problems that we have in our city as it relates to crime. The bulk of the crime in our city is committed by homeless individuals. And I think one of the greatest priorities we need to address, that I tried to start in my first term and I haven't been able to complete, is once and for all ending that direct bus route from TGK, from our correctional facility in West Dade, that comes up 41st Street, that turns on Collins, and that goes all the way to Lincoln Road. That is one of the most important things that we could do to curb crime in our city, besides trusting our police officers, giving them the resources that they need, and making sure, above all, I think one of the most important things we could do as elected officials is leverage our leadership together with leaders in other cities, making sure that we advocate for the right judges that are going to give the right penalties in court, because all too often we see our police officers bravely putting their lives on the line to arrest criminals, only to have a judge create a revolving door and letting them back out on the street. And I think that's where we can leverage our leadership as elected officials to help elect good judges.
Thank you. Do you want me to repeat it? Empty police cars are parked throughout the city. Do you see this as an effective way to enhance security and fight crime? Please explain. And also, where do you think we stand with public safety?
Mixed answer, yes and no. Now, I'm the only one that has an Opalaka address on their birth certificate. And I say that proudly because I survived poverty, hunger, and violence in the hood, okay? So I could tell you that in terms of using the vehicles as a deterrent, initially it's helpful, but those vehicles need to be rotated. because after 2 or 3 days, they're like, that's just a decoy. Everybody knows it. So that's fine. I mean, the intent is good. The intent is good, but we could probably help it be a little more robust and effective in terms of rotating those vehicles. And what could be more helpful in that regard is to specifically make sure that those vehicles have limousine tints, so to speak, 5% tints, so that it's harder to see. You literally have to walk up and like, oh, okay, there's no one in there. Okay, but otherwise, if you're just going with traditional tints, it's easy to see from a block away. Now, in terms of the public safety, I have actively created a program in which I hope to implement beginning on November 4th. This is a program modeled after the FAA's Marshall program. I am the only candidate who has, for years, actively been reporting sexual activity on the trolleys, on the buses. We're talking about violence. We just had an issue where a North Beach resident was followed home by a gentleman from Miami Gardens, followed him home and assaulted the gentleman, and it was nearly a home invasion. And this was, of course, reported by our good folks at Channel 7 News, Sunbeam Television. So again, in terms of public safety, it is important for me to mention that I'm the only candidate that actually does have a family background in terms of military and law enforcement. Full disclosure, my sister is a law enforcement officer. So I am a bit biased in terms of supporting our police department.
Thank
you.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the lightning round. 30 seconds to respond to the audience questions. The first one, what will you do to fix our aging infrastructure? And Luigi, we'll start with you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, in terms of the aging infrastructure, what we need to do is we need to recalibrate our financial situation in terms of how much money we're dumping to Tallahassee and how much ROI we're getting back on it. We are feeding 66 counties with our hard-earned local industries, but in terms of what we're getting, it's just not adequate. So what we need to do is we need to draw more funds from Tallahassee. We need to bring in the experts. And again, this is 30 seconds. I bring in experts from whether Japan or Netherlands or anyone else who has expertise in that field, and let's pay them what they need to be paid.
Thank you.
It's very easy. We gotta follow the recommendation of the professionals. There's a book called Critical Infrastructure Projects and Neighborhood Infrastructure Projects. The roadmap is laid out for us. It's not for us to decide as elected officials. Our engineers have these projects. They need the green light from the city. And the longer we delay that green light, the more expensive these projects will become. We saw West Avenue be a project that was supposed to be in the $40 million range, go over $100 million. Why? Because of undue delays. The time is now to green light these projects so we can actually get them done.
And the final question in this group before we move on to the race for mayors. Good schools increase home values and attract families. What will you do to increase test scores at Miami Beach High?
That is a loaded question because I love our PTA moms. And dads, and you know, I got a call today from one of the moms from the PTAs, and they said there's this attachment 3 to item R7D. They want to cut the funding for the PTAs. I said, Mary, don't worry. No one is touching the PTA funding. No one is touching the education funding. The administration recommends the funding. So we will continue to invest in our schools. I know that is a priority that not only I have, but our community as a whole shares, because that is what we believe in Miami Beach. We believe in education, and we know that is the future of our city.
Thank you.
All right. How do we get those test scores up? Now, as Americans, most Americans always feel that we do things the best,
the brightest. I think that it's good to look at our neighbors in the east. I would propose an optional pilot program for Saturday school and Sunday school for 3 hours so that we can accommodate both Shabbat and Sunday services for those who may be observing any of those days. And this pilot program would start with, let's say, an example, 200 students capped, 3 hours, and with that, I believe that that would drive test scores up and also reduce any unnecessary bicycle activity and things like that we tend to see in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you.